Hey guys, it's me, Seren, back with another video. It is Thursday, the 30th. It's the day before Halloween. Yay, Halloween! I'm gonna try to get a Halloween video up. I might not be able to. If I can't get one up, please just don't do anything racist. I don't know what else to say except that. I love Halloween, but people love to like show their racist sides during Halloween. So just please, like, don't dress up like Trayvon Martin. Like, just don't. Nothing racist, please. This video is actually going to be about this catcalling video that has like gone totally viral, and some of the things that have been revealed about this catcalling video. For anybody that doesn't know, I want to say the day before yesterday, Tuesday. I want to say Tuesday. This advocacy organization called Holla Back, which fights against street harassment, they uploaded a video on YouTube, and the video was basically a woman walked around New York for 10 hours with a hidden camera and just kind of recorded her interaction with people on the street and with men on the street, and the way that they catcalled at her and harassed her and, kind of heckled her. It was a video about street harassment and street heckling, which seems like it should be awesome, right? The video went viral. In one day, it got like 10 million views or something like that. As of today, I want to say it's up to like 15 or 16 million views. Totally viral. But upon watching it, a lot of people, especially men and women of color, took issue with certain things in the video. I didn't watch the video. I went to the page to watch it, and as soon as it started, like the first couple seconds, I turned it off because I myself found it to be deeply, really just problematic. So from the instant the video starts, first of all, it's titled like 10 hours on New York as a woman, on the New York City streets as a woman or something like that. The video starts, and it's this like tall, slim white girl with this like really pretty face, this like long, dark, curly hair, just like really kind of stereotypical. And I was taken aback because I was like, who is this white girl? Like, okay, I already know that if I watch this video, 9 times out of 10 what this white girl is going to experience is going to be totally different from what I would experience as a woman of color walking the streets of New York City. I lived in New York City for 8 years. I've stomped those streets all up and down. And I was also a little concerned at the fact that the video doesn't give us any background information. We literally see her like putting the camera on, adjusting it, and then she just starts out walking. We don't get any information about, was she uptown? Was she downtown? We don't get any type of map. We don't get any type of geographical information, demographical information. We get nothing. We literally just get a cute white girl walking down the street. Like, that's it. And I know there's going to be people that say like, oh, well, she's not white, or she may not be white, or she may be Latina, or she may be Hispanic, or she may be this, or she may be that. We're strictly going off of appearances. That's the whole purpose of, their video. Like I said, we don't get any type of background information on her or on, where she's walking or what she's doing. And going off of appearances, she's white and or, white passing. So please don't leave any comments talking about how do I know she's white, because it's ridiculous and it's not productive, really. It's not any type of productive conversation. I have people that love to leave comments on my videos arguing about semantics and etymology and all type of things that don't even matter with what we're talking about. But anyway, so when I first originally watched it, I didn't watch it, but I watched the first 5-10 seconds, and then I saw a series of GIFs because it went so super viral. It was all over Tumblr, all these GIFs. And from what I saw, my first thought was, well, why is the scope of this project so limited? Why did they just follow, one young, pretty white girl, through the inner city for 10 hours? Maybe this could have been executed better. The idea of having hidden cameras on women as they walk down the street is a great idea, and one that's been executed, before in other ways. But the way this one was executed, I felt like it was severely lacking, Instead of putting one camera on one girl for 10 hours, if that's your budget, why not put, try and put a camera on 5 girls for 2 hours? So maybe you could have, 5 girls work the day in shifts, Starting with the first girl, you give her the camera, she has it for 2 hours. Second girl, you give her the camera, she has it for 2 hours. So maybe we could have a white girl, a black girl, a Hispanic girl, an Asian girl, or maybe we could have a girl with long hair, a girl with short hair, a girl, a fat girl, a skinny girl, whatever. I feel like that would have given us, have them canvas different parts of the city and let us know, now I'm downtown, now I'm uptown, now I'm in midtown, now I'm on the west side, now I'm on the east side. So that way we know, we get a better idea of, what is the demographics, what is the geography like, what is it like for a black girl like me, walking across, Columbia's mainly white campus on 116th Street. What's that like? Instead, they give us this, flat, they just really skim the surface, and I found that to be really problematic. Then, as I'm looking at, kind of the gifs, and as I'm seeing, basically how this video unfolds, and as I'm hearing, what a lot of people are saying, the only people that approached her and heckled her were Black and Hispanic. That's it. Black and Hispanic. There were no white men in the video at all. So then I was like, well, that's kind of weird, So I already have an issue with the way this is set up as, this white woman, she's kind of, they're setting her up to be like monolithic, like, this white girl represents all women at this point walking the street of New York, and that's just not true. Race and sex, they intersect, they do. So you need to see a bunch of different types of women, because one white woman is not going to represent all of us. So for one, I had an issue with that. So then moving on into the meat and potatoes of the video, the only people that you see heckling this girl are Black and Hispanic. First of all, your organization is called Hollaback. So what we're even doing from day one, and this organization was founded by 2 white people. So what you're doing from the day you founded your company is you're appropriating African American vernacular English, a slang word, holla back, and you're turning it into something negative. And I've made another video about this just last week. White people have a habit of, when they want to express a negative sentiment, they switch into African American vernacular slang. When they want to express, being upset, being angry, having an attitude, all of a sudden you see white girls rolling their neck talking about, ooh, girl, my angry inner black woman about to come out. Like, when you see them wanting to express street harassment, they never go to the white dude that's like, hey, bro, let me talk to you. They immediately slip into this African American vernacular. Girl, let me holla at you. Let me holla at you. And there's actually an excellent post going around Tumblr, I'm going to link it for you, that really breaks this down with examples of memes that have been very popular in the feminist community of Tumblr, and all of them personify street heckling by using African American slang. They have these women taking on these deep voices and grabbing their nuts and like really, delving into stereotypes from the black culture to express negativity. And that's an issue. It's racist. It's an unconscious bias, right? So when you already from day one, this advocacy group is called Holla Back, we can already assume that they have some unconscious biases towards black men, Hispanic men, men of color. Then when you see that they've created this video that follows this white girl around for 10 hours and only shows her, being heckled by Black and Hispanic men, you can kind of think, well, we're already setting this up in a certain way, so we see a white female victim of men of color. That's what we see. It fits into a narrative where black and brown bodies are inherently threatening to, pure, innocent white women. That's how it's set up. And I made a post about this on Tumblr, and someone said, well, I don't really think that's fair because, this is what happened. This is the way it happened. This is the way it played out. It wasn't staged, it wasn't set up. This is just the way it happened. And it just so happens that more Black and Hispanic men, heckled her. I don't think that's fair. Well, I wake up this morning and what do I see? Slate magazine has published an article, and I will post a link, stating that the white men were edited out of the footage. The whole clip is like under 2 minutes long, and she walked the streets of New York for 10 hours. So they have 10 hours of footage that they edited down into a minute and a half, and they edited out all of the white men. So what does this say? Again, they created a narrative. They created a story. They edited out all the white men. They kept all the men of color to further a stereotype that states that white women are victims of the inherently violent and aggressive men of color. This is racist, okay? Like, this is racist. This is racism, you know? This is an unconscious bias. I'm not going to say that this was, like, you know, done on purpose. I've made other videos about unconscious biases and, you know, subconscious levels of racism. So I'm not going to say they sat there and, like, rubbed their hands together and said, like, let's edit out all the white guys. Like, but when you have, you know, an unconscious bias, and when you're white, like the girl walking the streets, like the people that created the video, like the people that appropriated the black slang to name their fucking company Holla Back or whatever, when you have this unconscious bias, when you're white, you're kind of automatically going to say like, oh, well, that white dude looked okay, let's edit him out. But that black dude looks scared, we got to leave him. And there have been some really great comments on Tumblr. I'm going to post all the links, but it's probably going to be very link heavy, this post, so I want to read you guys some of the ones that I really liked. One that I really liked, that was just perfect. So, given the important commentary on how that catcalling video just happened to edit out the white male perpetrators, this morning I decided to check the statistics on stalking. As I am sure no one is at all surprised, white men are 6 times more likely to be guilty of criminal stalking than all other racial groups combined. What does that tell you? A white man is 6 times more likely to follow you down the street. Period. And I said this on Tumblr yesterday. I said, you know, I'm seeing clips from this video, and all I'm seeing are black and brown bodies following this white girl. And from my experience as a woman of color, it would be the reverse, you know. I am mostly heckled by white guys. And the majority of the heckling that I receive is racial in nature. It has racial undertones. So when I said that, somebody left a comment. They reblogged it and they left a comment that says, you know, well, that's unfortunate, and it's also unfortunate that they edited white guys out of this video. However, that does not diminish the importance of the message. No! White feminists, this is why nobody takes you seriously, okay? Because you feel like you have the ability to separate race from feminism because you're white. Because you have that privilege. Because you feel like white is like the master race, it's the master code, it's the master post, it's the original, and the rest of us are all kind of, you know, different variations. But since you're white, you don't see yourself as white. You don't see yourself as anything. You feel like you have the ability to separate race from sex and race from gender, and that's just not true. Because for us, women of color, race, sex, gender, they all walk hand in hand. If a white guy's following me down the street and he says he wants to fuck me in my chocolate ass, I can't just nicely say, I'm just going to ignore the chocolate part and I'm just going to hang on to the part where he said he wants to fuck me in the ass. No, it has racial undertones, okay? When I turn a white dude down and he immediately calls me a black bitch with nappy spider hair, I can't separate race from sex and gender. And you can't say, well, you know, it's unfortunate that they edited out white guys to create a narrative of, you know, aggressive, violent, you know, frightening Black and Hispanic men, but that doesn't undermine the message, because it does undermine the message. It completely destroys the integrity of the video completely, you know. White feminists would let, you know, bitches dressed up in KKK outfits come to their march for fucking reproductive rights, because they're like, you know, reproductive rights. Sorry, the KKK's here, but they want to fight for reproductive rights, so we're all for it. Like, white feminists be racist as hell. That's why when we want to have, you know, our own version of black feminism, that's really deep-rooted, you know? And white feminists have a history of being racist, especially towards black men. You know, the original fucking bitches out here fighting for women to be able to vote were offended because black men got the right to vote before them. They felt like, you know, those savage animals got the right to vote before us. That's not fair. We need to mobilize. We need to get, you know, our rights to vote. So you can't ask me to separate race and gender. And you can't say to me, oh, well, that doesn't fuck up the meaning behind the video. It does. And someone also left a really important comment that I want to read because it's extremely, extremely, extremely important. So when we add in the stats that tell you that you're 6 times more likely to be followed and to be stalked by a white man, and then you have a viral video, 15 million hits, showing that the main perpetrators of stalking and street harassment are Black and Hispanic men, what happens is you create a false sense of complacency, okay? Every, you know, young girl, young woman, you know, impressionable that watches that video, she's 9 times out of 10, even if not on a conscious level, on a subconscious level, she's going to internalize that to feel afraid of men of color, blacks and Hispanics, and to feel secure around white men. And that undermines your message, because the message is supposed to be, you know, all men, right? Not just men of color. Any type of man can follow you, heckle you, you know. That's why the whole setup of the video with this white girl and these men of color harassing her is problematic. So the comment that someone left, I'm going to read it to you. Amazing how they think they're doing women a service by shining a light on catcalling, but still passive-aggressively sneak their agendas of racial discrimination in. I'll have you know, you have no idea what it's like to walk on a sidewalk as a man of color and see a white woman switch her purse to her furthest shoulder or run away from me because she's afraid. If a girl sees this video and decides it's safer for her to walk past a group of white guys than men of color, because let's be honest, that is what's being prevented, and something happens to her, then she's at fault, and now so are you. Period. Period. You cannot say that the representation of the video doesn't matter because the message is still there. That's just not true, okay? Because the message that's being given is that white women need to be afraid of men of color, blacks and Hispanics, but that they can feel safe and secure around white men because white men would never do that to them. So when a woman is harassed, heckled, stalked, followed by a white man, she might, you know, have this false sense of security because she saw a video like this, because she saw other street campaigns, because there's tons of them that utilize African American vernacular to make women afraid of black and brown bodies. You're not doing anything good. You're giving a false sense of security when white men are 6 times more likely to stalk women. Like, stop trying to separate race, sex, and gender. It matters. It matters. Okay? And context matters. The setup of this video was inherently problematic, and then you throw in the fact that they edited out white men. What type of racist shit was this, you know? And then I have people telling me, like, oh, well, that's not fair because maybe they didn't have enough money to pay, you know, more girls or to do more takes. No. Okay, I went to the website for Hollaback. It's a huge company, okay? They have multiple interns. They have an available position for an intern right now that gets paid $250 a month and a stipend, okay? There's people out there that aren't even making that much money at their fucking part and full-time jobs. They have money. They were also backed by Rob Bliss, you know, who's a creative agent. He runs an advertising company, and he's been hit with accusations of being racist in the past, where he whitewashed an ad for a city. He was asked to make an ad for a city, which I'm sure you guys have all seen. I'm from DC, and I used to see ones for, like, Virginia's for Lovers, like, all the time. He was accused of whitewashing ads by showing, you know, mostly smiling white faces in neighborhoods that, and in states and cities that were predominantly black. He was accused of whitewashing. So now you have someone that's been accused of racism in the past with their advertising. You team up with them. Your organization is already called Holla Back, letting me know how you feel about African American vernacular and slang terminology as something negative, you know? And then you create this video that literally paints, you know, a picture. It furthers a narrative of how, you know, precious white jewels need to run away from the scary black and brown man, like, you know, like Emmett Till. Like, it's insane. And then you have people that are literally, you know, white feminists that are defending it, saying, well, the message is still good. Listen. I wouldn't fucking march for reproductive rights with y'all if fucking one of you bitches put a gun to my head, right? Like, there are some serious issues in the white feminist movement. Y'all need to get y'all shit together and stop being so fucking racist. Because you're caught. You're caught. As soon as the video came out and went viral, the pushback started on Tumblr. We wake up this morning and we find out they edited white dudes out of the video. Like, cut the shit. Cut the fucking shit. There's going to be lots of links. I really encourage you to read all of them. There's going to be a lot, but please read as many of them as you can. The comments on Tumblr were just, you know, fantastic. Like I said, someone actually went and did the research on stalking. They put a parent link, a resource link, which I will post. You know, here's another one right here. Awesome. If your feminism translates to demonizing black, POC, and or indigenous men while you give white men a pass, you're doing it wrong. You know? Excellent comment. This is not the first time marketing agent Rob Bliss has been called out for race blindness. And there you have it. Racial coding, stereotypes, racial bias, and the covert socialization of anti-blackness used by racists since forever. See, catcalling is bad, but it's really, really bad when scary black men do it, you know? Always put scary black faces and language on socially reprehensible behavior. Excellent, excellent stuff. You know, please read it. If you've heard about this and you don't understand like what the big deal is, or, you know, if you hear about it and you think like, oh, well, we're spreading awareness about catcalling though, like, isn't that great? Like, no. Read links. Watch this video. Don't watch their video, even though the damage is done, you know, 15 million views. They made a couple $100,000 off of it easy, you know, the damage is done. Don't watch their video. I won't be linking to it. I'll probably link to some other things that will link to it, but please don't read it. You know, the Rob Bliss dude got on Reddit and tried to, like, explain, like, oh, we edited out the white dudes because the noise. Nigga, you in New York. Everything is loud. There's other loud stuff on that video that has subtitles. You edited out the white people because they didn't fit into your racist-ass narrative that you were trying to spin. Okay? Period. Let it go. We know. And holla back, you just ain't shit-ass company. Jessica Williams of The Daily... I want to say The Daily Show. Sorry if I'm wrong. I watch her. I don't watch the show. I mostly catch her clips on YouTube. She did something similar a few months ago that was way better. You know, she had a whole group of women, all different types represented. Jessica Williams is black, and had them kind of canvas out across New York. And she ended up making a map where she goes, you know, oh, I sent, you know, one of my girls to each of these places, and each of these places got catcalled. And by the end, you know, the whole map was covered. And we see a variety of different men, black, white, Hispanic, hitting on a variety of different women. It's awesome. It doesn't have 15 million views, though. I wonder why. I wonder if it's because it doesn't fit, you know, the racist narrative, you know, because the comments on YouTube are fucking racist. On this, like, viral video, oh, that's what you get when you know, walk through a street full of niggers, and what do you expect from niggas and spics that don't have jobs, that's out on the corner in the middle of the day, you know, which also bugs me. The classism thing is also another issue, because that's partially true. When you walk down the street during the middle of the day, if a person is not, you know, sitting in an office at like a nice office job, the majority of the people that you're going to run into on the street are of a certain income level. And a lot of the people living in New York that are below a certain income level are black and Hispanic. So again, you have a skewed perspective. You have a whole setup of a video that is meant to skew you towards thinking that black and Hispanic men are a problem group. You know, when I lived in New York, I once got off work at 5 p.m. I went to get a happy hour drink. A white dude, older white dude, sat down next to me. He started harassing me. I left the bar. He followed me down the street to the train station. Then he handed me a business card and, you know, went back up to his office. Was that street harassment? Does that not count as street harassment because, you know, it started in a bar? Does it not count as street harassment because he handed me a business card at the end because he was white and I'm black? These stats given about stalking, what is it? What's the number? The stats given about stalking say that the perpetrators are overwhelmingly higher than the national average in earnings. So someone that's more likely to stalk you is going to be a white rich dude. But none of that fits into the narrative of what they want us to believe about black and brown bodies. So that's not something that you will ever see, okay? So just think critically, you know? Everything is food for thought. And just, you know, really... If something like this gives you a shitty feeling in your gut, a lot of people said, you know, as soon as they turned it on, it made them feel strange. Go with that. Because there's a ton of stuff out here meant to just make you afraid of us, of black and brown people, and not even know why. Just give you a creepy feeling in the back of your mind, you know? Just a reminder that 2 weeks ago you saw a video that was a minute of black and brown bodies harassing a poor white woman, you know, when stats tell you that it's more likely to be a white dude harassing you. So click the links. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to get one up tomorrow, but if I don't, happy Halloween. I hope you guys all stay safe and have tons of fun and don't do anything racist. All right? Thanks. Peace.